Hey Virgo, thank you for joining me today for your March 2016 reading. I'm really appreciative of you taking the time out of your day to spend it with me. My name is Katie. I'm with blissfulbee.net. If you are interested in any personal readings, please check out that website, and I give information on how to get a personal reading with me. This reading will be a general reading for all Virgos for the month of March. And with that being said, it's important to know that this is a general reading, so there are some things that you may connect with and there are things that you may not connect with. So it's important to take into account that fact. If you do find yourself feeling that you would like to make a donation and support this channel, I would graciously accept your offer. Any donations that are received through this channel are used primarily to help create better quality videos so that I can give free monthly readings to everybody on a regular basis. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle the deck a little bit more, and we're going to see what guidance we can give. So let me go ahead and ask the cards what guidance we need to help our Virgo friends have a successful month and learn the lessons that they are ready to learn. And the spread that I'm using is the Celtic Cross spread. And the positions mean different things for different people. But I'll explain it as I go along if you're interested in knowing what positions I'm using. So your U card is the King of Wands. And this is a card that represents someone who's gone through a lot of traveling in his life, someone who has experienced different countries, different cultures, different ways of thinking, and he has built a following for himself, but is not necessarily keeping it because they're having difficulty making choices at this point. And you might find yourself to be a bit of a wanderlust still, where you're wanting to travel and do different things and experience new ideas and new places, but you're not necessarily being able to make a good decision as to what exactly the next path is, what exactly the next undertaking is. And this is interesting because this is similar to the reading that Leo had earlier, but what's crossing you and why you're having probably such difficulty making decisions is because you have a new love interest in your life. And this love interest could be a person, it could be a passion, it could be a hobby, it could be anything along those lines. But the thing is that this person makes you feel like they are your other half. They make you feel like they have balanced out who you are. You have brought out the weaknesses and the strengths in each other, and you are able to mirror each other in such a way that one person's weakness is the other person's strength. And so it seems like what's happening is maybe you feel that you've lost a sense of independence. You've lost a sense of knowing that you're able to do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it. And it almost as if this sense of candidness has been taken away from you by this love interest. And now you're torn between two decisions. Do you continue on with your independence, or do you decide to develop a relationship with this person, which could be potentially more beneficial to you? But we'll weigh the options and we'll see what the rest of the spread is saying before we really jump to conclusions. The card above you is the King of Swords. And this represents someone who rationally, a person who is a rational thinker who is very good at making harsh decisions without worrying about the potential outcome or what people will think of them. And that's interesting that it's your above card, because this is the card that typically that's on your most conscious mind. That's what you're thinking of. how I would interpret this is that I think you're trying to make that right decision, but it's a struggle for you because you're almost, I don't want to say blinded by love, but swayed by it. And I think that that's why you're feeling like you're being pulled in many different directions, or you're thinking of doing many different things, is that it is actually almost easier for you normally for you to be able to make these simple decisions and just stick with it and not feel guilty for your decision that you've made. So you feel out of place right now. You feel outside of your comfort zone. In your past, you've had to make some sacrifices, and like the King of Swords, this wasn't necessarily a difficult thing for you to do. You maybe have recently had to remove people out of your life that were no longer of good use to you, or were no longer beneficial to you for the long run. And potentially what is happening is that this person that has come into your life is exuding those qualities or those characteristics of people or things that you previously thought were not necessary to you anymore. And it's almost as if they're coming up again, as if they're being brought back on purpose for you to recognize that and to learn a lesson because of it. Recently in the past, you have a lot of swords cards, by the way, you've been blinded by your head, basically. The Eight of Swords depicts a woman who's tied to a tree with vines. The vines represent her head, and in almost making too rational of decisions. I take that back. Not rational of decisions, but she almost has too much on her plate, and she doesn't want to make a choice. She wants to resist what's happening. She doesn't want to make a decision for fear that there's going to be a bad outcome because of it. And this could have been what recently has happened to you, and could be the reason why you're so indecisive right now, is because you're feeling stuck. You're feeling out of place. You're feeling as if you're trapped by something that's out of your control. But the reality is that it actually is completely in your control, because what you're resisting is something that is a reality that you've only created for yourself. Every person has the ability to create their own reality. Every characteristic or judgment that we put onto people is not necessarily truly who they are. It's just what we've made them to become. So know that these vines are easily cuttable. You can easily cut through them, and you can easily decide to remove that blind from yourself and to make a decision that would be worthwhile for you in the long run. Your upcoming future is home, is abundance, is being together with others and sharing the wealth, the love, the passion, the Ten of Cups. I think what you need to do is focus hard on the things that you're resisting and understand the reason why you're resisting them in the first place. And when you get down to the purpose as to why you're resisting things that are bothering you, you'll find that it's a lot easier for you to get over the problem just by focusing in on it on the first place rather than resisting it. And as a result, you're going to see that it's going to be very beneficial to you. By making this decision and moving forward with this passion or this person or this new love interest, whatever it may be, you will learn much more than if you were to stay stuck where you are resisting the things that you are worried about. Your friends and family are pursuing career or money-driven things. They're focused right now on bringing new avenues or ways of making money into their life. So they might be starting a new business. They might be starting a new career. They might be actually physically going to that job, or they might literally be signing the lease to the rent space, or signing the papers to rent out a new space for their new business. They're very focused right now. And I don't think it's necessary for you to have to go to them for any kind of guidance, because what I think is happening, you know the answer to all along. It's just you're resisting it out of fear of potential outcomes that could not even happen. So get out a journal and write down what you're afraid of and ask yourself, why am I afraid of this? And then give yourself an answer and say, why am I resisting being with this person? And then say, I'm afraid that they'll hurt me. And then say, why am I afraid that they'll hurt me? Because I don't want to share parts of myself that I feel are vulnerable aspects of my personality. Why don't you want to do that? Because I don't feel that I am understood, that kind of thing. Get down to the root cause as to why you're afraid to share yourself with this person. And by doing that, you're going to give yourself much better catharsis than any other avenue that you could consider. Your hopes is for this relationship to come into fruition. You've got the Empress. She's the person who brings the ideas, the inspirations, the things that you've been thinking about into life. The thing to be careful of, though, is that if you're focusing too much on the things that have you worried or the things that you are resisting, you will end up bringing that into your reality. Whatever you ask of the universe or whatever you think of, the universe will bring that into your life. So remember that it's time to start focusing on what it is that's going to make you happy, and then implement that and decide that that's what's going to happen, and the universe will make it happen. It will bring it into life for you. Your fears card is losing balance, losing a sense of independence, a sense of feeling like you have control, a sense of balance between having your you time and sharing yourself with other people. And again, it goes back to the same idea for me, which is that your reality is whatever you create it to be. If you decide that your reality is full of fears and anxieties and things that are holding you back, then that's what it will be. If you decide, however, that you want abundance in your life, if you want to be able to share your passions and share the wealth with people that are very much so like-minded and want to bring out the best in you, then that's what will happen. You have to make the decision right now to decide whether or not to move forward with this relationship. Final outcome is the Two of Swords. And so it seems like you've got a tough decision to make right now. Twos represent a fork in the road. They represent difficult choices. And sometimes these choices means that you can't turn back. But it also is related to the Magician, where he is able to bring these things into life, and you have to have the tools that you're needing you already have the tools that you need in order to be able to make the life that you want. Just what has to happen is you have to make the decision to move forward with it. This is what I've been saying this whole time. You have to decide what you want your reality to be, and the Empress will make it happen. The universe will make it happen. So what is your decision? Do you decide to continue resisting your fears, continue avoiding it, and continuing not to accept or deal with the reality of the situation? Or do you decide to put out yourself on the line and to take a risk? I think that you'll find that you'll have much clearer mental clarity once you decide to put yourself out there and share your heart. Because you're going to learn a lesson about manifesting, about how much control you really have in your reality. People who believe that their lives are out of control, that's what their lives are actually like. But the minute that they decide that they are going to do the things that make them happiest and do the things that they feel passionate about, that's when their life starts taking a turn. The universe recognizes these things, and they recognize that you're asking for these things. And whatever kind of energy that you're putting out there into the universe, it will bring back to you sometimes tenfold. So it's time for you to make that decision, Virgo. And I wish you all the best, because this could be, very two different avenues that you go down. So I almost want to say think long and hard about it, but I think the answer is obvious. So I want to say go with your gut instead, because your intuition is probably the best way of going about finding the answer, and the best way of practicing, removing the things that you feel fearful of. Okay, Virgo, thank you so much for taking the time today to join me for your reading. I hope that this message brings you some sense of clarity. If you are interested in a personal reading, please check out my website, blissfulbee.net. I put a description link in the box below. And I think that's it. I may be posting videos throughout the month. We'll see. But if not, I will see you again in April. Bye, everybody.